Guess what, Beeline? Guess what, Beeline? Yo, listen, yo, it's been a little while since you've seen me without my Beeline shirt. I was really happy about them shirts, but yo, listen, today it's hot. I didn't even have time to look for the shirt. I was like, yo, listen, it's too hot. The black, you know, I'm just not feeling it today. So yeah, I'm chilling. I'm in my studio and I'm comfortable. But check it out. You know I gonna do that. Listen, Beeline, people, what's good? It's your boy Brian B. Back at it. Yes, we got a screen on the screen and we got another interview for the show. I love these interviews. They've been coming a lot more lately. The first season, we had a lot of interviews, but the second season, round 2, we got a lot more too. So guess what? It's time to start the show.
It's time for the Beeline. It's time for the Beeline.
Yes, it feels good every time I hear that music. I hope you guys like that song. I never really, asked if anybody. I put it on, Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. If you like the introduction to the Beeline, it's going to be changing soon. I've been, working on a new video. I just haven't had a lot of time. But guys, thank you so much. I start off by thanking all the, followers and things like that of the show. People hitting me up, people who want to come on, all the guests and everything like that. Thank you guys so much for the love and the support. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, switches, whatever you got. Hit your boy up because I love talking to y'all. I love doing this, and of course, it's much appreciation is being shown. But yes, like I said, we got a screen on the screen once again, and this is another segment of Talking with Strangers. We don't know each other, we never met each other, but she has a great story, and I'm very interested in you guys to hear this episode right here. It's actually going to be a very important episode for I think a lot of people. I think you're going to want to hear what this young lady has to say, as well as your boy. Like, even though I'll be talking reckless and crazy, I still got some good insight here and there. I could throw a little bit of information. So without further ado, Miss Hope. I'm sorry, I don't want to say it wrong. Is it Reger or Reger?
You got it. It's Reger.
I'm getting there. Miss Hope Reger, everybody. Thank you, Miss Hope. How you doing, Miss Hope?
Hello. I love your enthusiasm. I love your energy. It's amazing. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. When I heard this story, one thing I did when I started this segment, this Talking with Strangers segment, it was basically like, almost everybody's a stranger, especially when you're doing this. Like, you're meeting somebody on Facebook or something, and then you don't really know each other and stuff like that. But I wanted to give people more of a platform, not so much interview wise, but just give people the chance to come on and speak about whatever they want to speak about. I feel like, there's a lot of interesting people in the world. A lot of people have been through a lot of scenarios. And by hearing them speak, not just to do an interview, but just giving you a chance to kind of throw it all out. You know what I mean? I don't care if anybody wants to come on and just tell me about their day. Like, that's the whole point of this segment. But in this situation, it's like a really good message that you have. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of dive into the conversation.
Absolutely. My name, again, is Hope Reger. I am a mother to 2 sons. Brian is 31 and Justin is forever 19. Awesome. I live in a small town north of Columbus with my husband, Mike. And I've been working for the same company it's 25 years this month. As a talent coordinator. So just a little bit of my background.
That's awesome. What talent?
So basically it's Chase Wealth Management is who I work for. And I do the talent coordination for the bank and the service centers and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. So your boy heard talent and I was like, wait a minute, I got an entertainment show right next door and I'll try to get the bankers. Oh, come on, 10s, 5s, 20s, like, whatever. I don't care. But okay, so Miss Hope, that's awesome. So you've been in Columbus. Is that Columbus, Georgia?
Ohio.
Oh, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Okay, I've been in Georgia too long. Get off my head of Georgia. But yeah, so you have a very interesting story, and I want you to go ahead and be able to describe everything. So let's just get down to it, because it's a really good message to this story, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. So go ahead and tell the Beeline what you got, Miss Hope.
Awesome. Thank you. So a little bit about almost 5 years ago, in November of 2016, I received a knock at the door, and I lived in a condo at the time. So I looked out my bedroom window, and there was two police officers standing there. And my first thought was, with two sons, what have they done, right?
Yeah,
It's the first thing,
that's
they're
guys
at the
right there.
jail. Nobody has any idea what their mom's cell phone number is, because we
Yeah.
use our cell phone. So,
Yes.
so I
Been there,
thought,
done that.
right.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh Lord, what have my kids done? One of them. And so when I answered the door, they asked me if I was Justin's mom. And I thought that was unusual, but that didn't surprise me, because if it was one to get in trouble, it'd be him. And so I thought, yes, I am Justin's mom. And they handed me a piece of paper that said a gentleman's name on it and a phone number. And I thought, okay. And they said that they were trying to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
And Justin was staying in our hometown. I had moved to Columbus for my job. And so I was like, okay, so I recognized the area code was from my hometown. And so I asked them what it was about. And they said, well, we're not sure. We don't really know what it is about, but they're trying to get a hold of you. And mind you, this is 6:30 in the morning. So I thought, surely if something was serious, they would tell me,
Yeah.
it's the police, right? So I thanked them. I shut the door and I went upstairs to my bedroom, and I thought, I better call. This seems pretty urgent. And plus, I didn't know if they were in jail. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I didn't think what I heard was going to happen. So when I dialed the number, the person on the other line said Greene County Coroner.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? And I said, I explained who I was, that I was Justin's mother, and that I had gotten this information from the police. And he said, Hope, I regret to inform you that your son Justin has passed away. And he's at a different county's coroner. There's an investigation. He got into a verbal altercation with his roommate, just probably calling each other names or whatever.
Yeah.
And it led to a physical altercation where they were physically fighting, and Justin had him up against a wall and was, throwing punches, and punches were thrown. And the gentleman pulled a gun out of his pocket or pants, or I don't know where it came from, and pointed at Justin and shot and killed him.
Yeah.
And Justin didn't
Crazy,
have
man.
any weapons, didn't have any, knives or guns or anything. And so he was arrested for murder that night. And the roommate was, and they took Justin to the hospital, where they eventually pronounced him. And this was like 1:30, 2:00 in the morning. And they had already taken him to the morgue by the time they got in touch with me.
Damn.
So the gentleman was arrested for murder. They took him to the station, and eventually his mom or dad or somebody, like the next day or so, put up bond, so he got free. And basically what happened was, over the next several months, and we can get into it in more detail, but in the next several months, he pled self-defense, never even went past the grand jury, because he claimed that Justin had him up against a wall
Yeah.
and there was no exit.
Yeah.
That even though he didn't have any weapons of any kind, Justin didn't, that he filed self-defense. He was never indicted, never went to trial.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man. When you hear stories like that, especially me as a man, like, the one thing that catches my attention is just how fast some shit can escalate. Because I'm pretty sure, like, most people at this point, like, women and men, you've been in an altercation that's gotten pretty serious. Unless you're just like, like the softest person in the planet, like everybody's been, whether it was just that one guy you flipped off on the highway, whether it was just, the waiter you got mad at for not doing whatever the case may be, like you've been in some kind of altercation. Like you never know what's going to happen when things kind of get heated, man. Like I think that's one of the scariest things to think about whenever you're in, like, whether it be an argument or a disagreement. You never know the other person's day. You never know their side. You never know their situation. You never know their mind state. I know we talk a lot about mental health and stuff like that now because it's trying to become more aware just because of these reasons. Like, you would think to yourself as a, normal thinking person or just somebody not in the situation at hand, I would never do something like that. I would never let that happen. I would never, but you never know until you're faced with that kind of fucking situation, man.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so scary about this story. Like, because you said they were roommates. How long were they roommates for?
Oh, it was just within maybe a month or so that, and this guy was sort of like in and out of the house. I don't
Yeah.
know. He had stuff at the home, so they considered him a roommate. I think he was just back and forth. There was a third roommate that was in the house that they were all staying in, and it is exactly what you said. This
Yeah.
was something that it was probably arguing back and forth. It could have been, and I don't know, to this
Yeah.
day I still don't know, because the truth lies with the person in heaven. But and there was another witness there, and after I've researched it and just recently found that there was news articles that said there was a struggle for the gun, that they had like physically struggled for the gun. So it
Oh,
was
yeah.
sort of like a verbal altercation, then it would turn physical punches, and then there was a struggle for the gun. Well, the police report has none of that listed,
Holy
saying that there
shit.
was a struggle. So that's the difference between the witness and how it was, said to the media.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting point in itself, man. It's like, I don't know too much about, like, how the cops, like, reflect back the information. Only time I've ever noticed it was a situation where I was it was like a car accident and I was driving a company vehicle. And this guy, definitely, luckily he didn't like deny it. Like he tried to turn in on when I was going straight on the road, and I completely sideswiped this guy. And as soon as we got out, like, he was like, "My bad." He knew immediately he was at fault. But the one thing I was thinking about was like when the cop came and he was like trying to give the story, even though I was telling him what was going on, he was kind of making his own story as I was telling him. It was weird. It was like I was saying it was this, I was saying it was that. Well, I'm just gonna put down that this happened and you guys are right. I'm like, what do you mean you're just gonna put down? I can't remember exactly the detail, but I remember standing there thinking like, you're just saying what you well, what makes it easier for you. I don't understand what you're trying to say. We're telling you what happened.
Right.
It's a weird thing, man. It's like, you don't think about it because it's one of those things. I think that is just like you just think that somebody's going to do their job correctly to the
Mhm.
fullest ability, especially somebody in like an important role as a cop. You think that they're going to be the most detailed person in the planet, but there's people that suck at their job, man, all over, like even in important ones, and it's crazy. Like, I've heard a couple of different stories. There was that one story with that girl in the motel. There was a 19, and they found her body in a freezer or some shit like that or whatever. And it came out a couple I think years back. But they said the cops had like they found out that people had like erased the video footage and the security cameras. And there's a lot of crazy shit that nobody put in a report. Like it was not even like nothing, just shit coming out just after years of time passed.
Yeah.
And in your situation right now, it's like, to learn that there was a struggle for the gun, it kind of gives you a better picture painted for what actually, occurred in the house. But that's really sad. First of all, I know no parent. I got 3 kids, man, and they're young still. So I know parents ever have to go through that, like, tragedy, man. You never want to leave out of here, after your kids and stuff. But unfortunately, like crazy events happen every day, man. That's why it's like it's so important to be safe and you know, level-headed and not too like in bad situations, yo. The fact that you said that, you know, the guy was kind of in and out and everything like that or whatever, like I have no idea about the situation. I know I've been in similar situations where I've known people and they've stayed. I mean, I remember one time, and I'm not trying to go crazy in it, but there was one guy that I remember, he was staying at a house. It was a couple of my friends, and they were staying at a house, and this one guy came in a house, and we all left out the house. And he stayed back. He was like, yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom or something like that. And we had just pulled out a box and it had like some money in it. And as soon as you know, we come out and then we left, we had to do, and then he left. We saw him leave. But as soon as we came back, we looked in the box and the money was gone. That fast, like that fast.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my friends, he was literally like, oh, I don't know what happened. And me and my other friend were like, what the hell do you mean you don't know what happened? Like, he was the only person here. Like, nobody broke in the fucking house. We only been gone for like 5 minutes. And it was just like, at that point right there, I just knew, like, that was one of the things that taught me, like, you can't trust people for shit. Like,
No. And you know,
situations.
you're exactly right. And the crazy thing is we heard so many stories upon
Yeah.
so many stories about so many stories. So the crazy thing was, I always wanted to know was like, did the coroner said that, you know, Justin's, once he was shot, his lungs filled up with blood and he passed. But then the ambulance said that they took him to the hospital before they pronounced him. And then there's also that, was there a waiting period for, like, did they try to get their stories together before they called the ambulance? I mean, there's just a million different ways that could have happened, because, you know, I'm sure it was shocking for, you know, all involved, but it was like, the Justin, you know, I always thought if Justin was hurt and could call me, he would have. And so I, you know, there's always so many what ifs, like, you know, if he would have called me, or if, was he walking around thinking he wasn't gonna, you know, that he was okay, that he was, you know, adrenaline running. And, you know, there was just a million things that could have happened that night. And you know what? I'll never know. I'll never know.
Crazy, man. That's very difficult. But yeah, Miss Hope, you know, like I said, like, I'm very sorry for that, you know, unfortunate situation that you have to deal with, you know. It is, I think it is a very strong of you to come on and, like, you know, speak about this. I think just hearing certain things will give people a different kind of perspective. I know there's a lot of times, there was an incident recently where on the news, I think this was in Georgia, but a lady was driving and her son was in the back seat, and she kind of like flipped the car off, and the guy pulled out a gun and shot at the car, and the bullet hit her son that was sitting in the back. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she turned around, she didn't even know that the bullet hit him, and he said to her, like, mommy, my stomach hurts. And the kid fucking died. Yo, that shit is like devastating. Like, this, me hearing that, and I'm one of those type of people where I try to put myself in the situation when I'm hearing, and I'm just thinking about, like, what the hell would I have done in that situation? It's just like, I think people need to hear stuff like this to help them when situations like that come around, because they do come around, man. You get into those situations where it's like, and I'm saying this, and I'm a fucking hothead. Like, you know, I come from a really rough area in Elizabeth, New Jersey. You know, we've seen a lot of things. I've seen people be shot. I've seen crazy shit. So I understand, like, how hostile a situation can get immediately. Even something you never thought would be, oh, they never fight or, you know, shoot each other. Once things get to a certain degree or a certain level, especially between people who are in fear of whether it be looking bad, losing, you know, because a lot of times I don't think people are super scared for their life. I think people, it's more of an ego thing, especially when it comes to people with guns. Like, you know, last thing somebody wants to do is feel defeated. That's why people don't really fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's more like, yeah, we got this physical altercation, but I'm gonna get that one hand, you know what I'm saying, upper hand on this situation with this. And it's fucking devastating, yo. And I think it's a big reason why people should wake up and, you know, try harder to avoid conflict, yo. I think that's the biggest message out of anything in this situation. Try a little harder not to get emotionally involved. Don't, you know, nobody wants to be a bitch or whatever, wimp, whatever. But you really have to think, is this worth it? You never know what can happen, man. And that's really, really, really important. But so after this situation, I know that you kind of made some steps of your own. So tell us a little bit about what's happened after, you've had to deal with this hard tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're absolutely right. Like there was a point in time, just going back, where Justin had shoved him and he got back up and was almost going to leave, is what
Yeah.
I've heard. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a choice that was made right there at that moment. But yeah, people, their pride comes into part way too much. So after this happened, it was Thanksgiving in November, and then you had Christmas, and then Justin's birthday was in February. So like those 3 months were sort of like a melty candle wax, is what I
Yeah,
tell people.
I
It
bet.
was like, I just tried to survive.
Yeah.
And then I went to a counselor. She was amazing, but she had suggested that I went to a Christian grief group to sort of be around people that
Yeah.
and I didn't grow up in the church, and I really didn't know much about God. So I was like really hesitant, because I was like, oh my God, my son's murdered. And then on top of this, I don't really know about God, but you want me to show up to this grief group. And so I went there, and they were amazing. And it was a really, really cool experience. And the being around people that just got it, that understood what I was going through. And it was different types. They had one had lost their wife, and one had lost their mother. But it was just being around people that just got it, that just
Yeah.
understood what I meant, what I
I can
felt.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. But I remember leaving this group base, and I thought, I really loved it, but it was something that I just felt out of place with it being Christian based. Not that I wasn't Christian based, but I was pissed at God, right? I was pretty
Yeah.
mad at God,
Yeah.
because he didn't intervene, and he didn't take somebody that was mean and abusive. He took my son, who was, pretty good kid, and I was a pretty good person. I've always been nice and positive and everything, but I was mad as hell at
Yeah.
God at that time, and so I struggled with it. And I just asked God one night, I said, tell me, why the hell did you take my son? Why? And what do you want from me? What do you want out of this? And not expecting anything, but I swear to you, just as you and I are talking right now, I heard the words, just be kind. And I tell everybody it was a weird freaking experience, because I could have sworn I heard those words.
I believe it.
And I was literally like taken back by that. And I thought, that's what I need to do. That's my purpose. Because, I heard everybody has this purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, this purpose, I'll just be kind. And so I remember paying it forward. You know how people pay it forward in
Yeah.
drive-thrus?
For sure.
And so I was in a drive-through, and I thought, I'll pay it forward. It was in a coffee Tim Hortons kind of place, so it wasn't very expensive. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pay for the guy behind me. Hurry up, because there was only like one window, right, at Tim Hortons. It wasn't like you had to pay and then you get your food and then you're out.
Yeah.
And I looked up, and the guy's cashier, his name was Justin,
Oh, wow.
which was
Okay.
my son. So I was totally freaked out by that, because that
Yeah.
was my first experience. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, God, if you want me to pay it forward like this, you better make me rich, because I can't afford to
Yeah.
keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
And so then and there, I knew that there was something that was given to me, a purpose to create something that added value, that added to other people that were grieving. And I didn't know exactly what that was going to be. I didn't know. I thought, okay, I'll write a book, or I'll do a podcast, but I didn't even know what the hell a podcast was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking death in our face every single day. We're counting death on the
Yeah.
TV,
On the
right?
tally. Yep.
And so I heard what is it? COVID mania?
Oh man, hey, Beeline, she did this. She did it this time. I didn't even do it. I wasn't going to even do it this episode, but since she brought it up, you want to know what it is? It's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, you not handling this situation, and that situation is COVID mania, baby. That's right. Running wild. It's still running wild. The Delta COVID mania, whatever the hell this shit's called. I don't even know what it's called. That's crazy. Hey, you're the first guest, Hope, to bring up COVID mania. That's fun. Yes, it's catching on.
It is. I heard that, and so I love that. But anyways, that was going on. It is still awesome. Going on, and unfortunately, it's still here.
Yeah.
But with COVID, everything was virtual, and I was Zooming on phone, for work and all. I do new hire orientations, and I was doing everything through COVID, and then on top of that, death. Everybody was like 5,733 today and 5,740, it was every day. And I was like, what can I do? What can I do to help? And that's when I come up with the idea of Grief to Hope. And it's a virtual support group. It's completely free. It's a 7-week program that I developed, and we talk about it's exactly what it is. We introduce ourselves, we tell our stories, we come together, and then every week we have a main topic, and I spell out the word grief. And then so for example, grief, the gift of time. Okay. It would be a main topic for the hour that we speak to, and it's just we talk about how time can help and sometimes hinder, and sometimes cause people to be like, okay, time's up, hurry up, get back to your old self.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a
so
really good concept, right there.
Cool. Yeah. And so we do that, and we do it for 7 weeks, and then at the end we have what's called To Hope, because it's Grief to Hope. Not that grief ever ends, but it's how you handle it and how you move forward. And so the program is, the last session that we do is called To Hope. And it's basically, what are you doing now? What inspires you? What will motivate you? What will keep you moving? Because people that are grieving, and I know you know this, are the strongest, most courageous people ever. They're the moms that get up every single day and take care of their other kids, even though they've lost one, to make Christmas special, to make Easter special, to make, the day special, Halloween, or just the everyday life. The amount of strength and courage that they put forth, even after grief hits them, is just amazing.
I've never been through it like that, but I'll tell you right now, like I said, like every day, I've talked about it before. I'm the over protective dad, man. That's my role I play, and I wear it proudly. I'm always like, thinking about, oh, don't let this happen. Oh, I was just telling my son a minute ago, like he was putting his foot around my boxing equipment stuff. And I'm like, yo, listen, bro, one wrong move and your toe snapped or whatever. I'm always thinking like, please don't let nothing happen to my family. Like, so I can't even imagine, I'm saying, like the amount of pressure and just like, thoughts that go on in head of a victim. Like, you know what I mean? Like somebody who lost one of their own, you know what I mean? Like, it's very difficult, as like you said, a strength that never even is like to be able to continue to go on, but your program, like, just hearing it, I'm just, like I said, I'm one of those type of people where I really try to place myself as much as you can in like an understanding role. So it's like just hearing that, just thinking about being able to be around people who are feeling similar, you know what I mean? I think that's one huge thing in any like situation of feeling like uncomfortable or stressed or, depression. Seeing other people going through it as well makes you feel not alone, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the biggest help, because you can't get too much from just like anything really, but being able to see other people go through the same thing, it gives you hope. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes any sense, I think.
Absolutely.
I think that's really amazing. I think that's very important for people to really hear that you have this service, because
it's incredible, and it's growing, and I'm very excited about it. But the main thing is, like, I want people to feel like it's open to everyone, and it's not just for traumatic, events, or there's so many different uh ways that people pass and ways that people grieve, and everybody is different. But it's not just for people that have lost their children. It can be, even grandmother that lived an amazing life and she's
Exactly.
95, but that grief is just the same as my grief and
Yeah.
my son, to whoever that's going through that experience. And it's getting together and it's having that feeling like, you're not going to fix me. I'm not here to fix you. I'm
Yeah.
here just to listen and to share a story. And everybody has a story, right?
Yeah.
As you know, and what you do,
Yeah.
and the inspiration that you create for others, it's everybody has this story that's going to touch somebody. And I tell
Exactly.
everybody, you don't have to come and talk. You don't have to, open yourself up, but know that your story could touch whoever. And just as like you have a story about whatever that is that you've lived through in your life that
Exactly.
could touch other people. And that's what it's about. It's just
Yeah.
about being there, supporting each other, and knowing that moving forward can just be small steps, and it doesn't have to be, grief is done in 2 years. That's not how it works. It's in your life, but you've got to work on how you live it. And I knew when Justin passed that I knew that great hope that was positive and optimistic and fun and always smiling was there. And it took me a long time to get to that point, but I lost Justin, and I didn't want to lose hope. Literally,
Yeah.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
lose who I was.
That's
So I
awesome.
knew that there was a way to live and honor Justin and still, be that same person that I was, and that would make him proud.
Exactly. Yeah. I think you just said like a mouthful. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things with people who are dealing with, any kind of grief, like you said, like, we pretty sure a lot of people have lost like grandparents and things like that. And even if you do know, oh yeah, I'm very happy. I've said it about my grandfather. I lost my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, at a time where like he made it to a good point in life, you know what I'm saying? Just being reasonable. He made it to a good point in life. And you definitely say, oh, I'm glad he got to live out a full life and have a full experience. But you still miss him, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still miss being able to call him and just check in on him and stuff. So it's grief there for sure.
Mhm.
Devastating situations are like, I'm a whole nother story as far as grief go. But yeah, like you said, like the doors always feels better when you're dealing with company. I mean, it sounds, I don't know if that sounds right, but in bad situations, even like, I'm not trying to, compare both, but in a relationship and you're dealing with a breakup, and it's just like, you're dealing with it, you're in your room listening to the crazy sad songs or whatever, going through it, how you go through it, eating cake, chocolate or whatever. But, but, it feels better when you get to hear somebody else's breakup story. Yeah, I remember I felt like that, man, blah, blah, blah. It gives you hope. Like, okay, maybe they got
Yeah.
through it, I can get through it. It's definitely a positive thing, man. You definitely don't want to lose. I think, like you were saying, like losing hope, like you don't want to be left to your own devices, man. You don't want to be left in your own thoughts and your own mind patterns, because if you just think about that, all you have is the pain and suffering. So it's nothing to remind you that there's something else to live for. And I think that's a lot of things with people nowadays, where it's like either it be, people getting bullied online, and it's like it never really ends. And people sometimes feel, even young kids, like, they go through a lot of things that it doesn't end, because like they said with, social media and stuff like that, you kind of forget like there's a whole nother side, man. It's not just that. You get too lost in that mentality, and that's it. And some people, they end it before they've even experienced it. And it's
Mhm.
very difficult. I mean, I'm just speaking just straight off opinion, but I mean, um, it's just like I wish more people could understand, like, there are people out there for you. Not everybody's against you. Not everybody's, looking to hurt you. Like, there are people out there looking to help you and build you and help you grow from your hard times and everything. I think it's really important, man. Commodity is like the biggest thing right now in our world that I think everybody really needs to embrace, because there's so much division. Um,
Yeah.
Hearing your story is like really important, you know what I mean? And it's like I said, it's a lot of people who deal with like, situations of this nature, but it's just like hearing your own personal story. This is what you're dealing with. This is your grief process and you built from it. You asked God for a clear sign, and he gave you one. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I heard in that story you just told before. He gave you one. He was like, you have something to live for. Pass this on and make sure you help people. Be kind. Let people know there's a different way. Somebody's gonna hear this, and whether it be 5 people or 50 people, like whatever, 5,000. Somebody's gonna hear this, and at least one person might be like, man, that's a good point. I'm gonna make sure I don't cross that boundary of no return and shit like that from the next situation. And I think just that alone, knowing that alone is enough to really feel satisfied. Like, I'm glad somebody else is going to experience what I'm experiencing right now. I think that's amazing.
I think that's beautiful, and you gave me goosebumps. I think it's amazing that it's exactly it. If you can help that one person, it's totally worth it. And there are so many people out here that want to help. That is the biggest thing. Like,
Awesome.
Everybody asks me, why are you doing this? Why are you doing it? I said, one, it's to honor my son. It's to honor my son. And I get to talk about my son all the time.
Yeah.
So I love it. Right. And two, people do things for hobbies, right? So like golfing and tennis, and they put money and effort into it. This is what I enjoy doing. And it's what I feel like it's my purpose to do it. And however it helps, I hope to goodness I add value to somebody. And when I climb that mountain and I see my son and we look down and he was like, Mom, you did it. You kicked some ass down there. I'm proud of you. That's all it's about, right?
Yes, for sure. I mean, like you said, like even just you talking to me is like, giving me like even a different perspective just on like how like just smaller things, like even not even something so drastic, but just like relationships and stuff like that. You don't know what's too far sometimes. I think, like I said, I think a lot of people have been in a situation where it's like something might have went too far, whether you said something you shouldn't have said or did something you shouldn't have did, and it's like, and you want to take it back. Like you get that long drive in the car by yourself, like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like you hit those realization moments where you're like, oh, I really fucked up back there. I shouldn't have did that. And I think that hearing stories like this kind of it opens up so you can think about it before you do it, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like it gives you kind of a perspective, like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I should like think about my choices, before. And I think that's important. You even got me thinking, like, I want to make sure that I don't ever get in a situation or put myself in a situation where it's like, you're going too far. If you think it's too far, it's better just to walk away, man. You never know what can happen in situations, and you don't never know who you leaving behind, or it's crazy. It's a very crazy topic, but it's amazing what you're doing, and congratulations to you for your strength, for your courage, for your progress that you've made so far. I'm gonna offer my help with your situation. It would be awesome. I don't know if you have anything yet, but if you have like something like maybe like a logo or a page or something, because I do things like that, and I was gonna place it in like the beginning of every video. So I have a couple of things that I have, so I can just put like a quick thing on the screen and just kind of advertise it, so people know if anybody's watching or anybody's coming on, they can see that first. And just give them a place that they can go if you need anything. So you just give me all your information and see if we can set that up, because I really appreciate this. I think it's a really good thing, especially now, like you said, with COVID and so many people going through a lot of different things, whether it be even just people just losing their jobs and they really don't know where they're going to get their next meal. And it's difficult, it's a very difficult time. And I think we need services like this to keep people together, keep people strengthened, and show people that you're not by yourself. Don't feel bad, build from this, build your strength.
I love it.
Yeah, Miss Hope, that was awesome, that really, that was really, I wasn't even expecting that. I kind of got off of work and I was like, okay, we're gonna, talk about our situation. But you put me in a different mind place. I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. I'm glad. I'm so thankful.
No problem. How many interviews have you done so far?
As far as podcasts go, probably I'd say 11 or 12.
Awesome.
You mean podcasts, right? But are you talking my Greif to Hope program?
Well, I was talking about podcasts. Have you done any where like YouTube podcasts, or have they been just like audio?
They've mostly been audio, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a web show right here. So
I know, I'm live. I'm like, I gotta get fancy.
I'm definitely going to advertise this too, because I want people to hear this story. Like, I think, like you said, it's a very important lesson. And I haven't had anything on the show like this so far. So this is something I'm definitely going to proudly, like, I'm going to leave a really nice description. I'm going to push this hard. But yeah, how many you said Grief to Hope, right? That's what it's called.
Yep. Grief to Hope. I've had this, I'm starting my fourth one. It's gone really well. People will actually, like, even though it's a program of 7 weeks, you can come in at any time. You can join 1, 3, 5. I know life happens, and you may not be able to, but you can repeat it. One of the greatest stories is somebody had lost her son in the second program. She just came and listened. And the third go round, she came back and she actually shared her story, and she started talking and appearing on camera. So it's an amazing thing, and it's inspiring. But I do have a website, and then it's on Facebook. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing it. But yeah, we start our fourth one in September. So
awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome, yo. Much power to you. Yeah, just we're talking. You send me your stuff. I'm gonna see if I can put something together for you. I'm gonna put it on the Beeline every single episode, before every episode, so they can just see, just in case anybody needs anything. I think it's a really important thing. We gotta look out for each other, man. And I think it's very important right now that people remember that. It isn't all hate, man. It isn't all hate in the world. There's a lot of love out here, and you got to make sure that you're paying attention, because if we can avoid chaos, man, it's the best way to live, yo. It's always gonna be problems, but you don't have to make problems. Yeah, let's definitely stick together on that. But Ms. Hope, thank you for coming on the show. Your story is amazing. I can't wait for people to hear this. I'm gonna push it everywhere, like I said. But thank you so much, yo. I'm gonna keep following you too. I'm like thinking about it now. I'm like, I can't even get my thoughts together. It's like, it's really good, yo. I'm really happy people are actually out here trying to make a difference still, yo. You get lost, man. You get lost in so much negative shit that's out there, and you forget people are still trying to make sure that other people are, like, are good. And I think that's the most important thing in this planet right now. We need more.
Think about yourself, though. Think about what you're doing. You're doing just the same. You are spreading this and sharing it, and your words are inspirational as well as your energy. I loved it. I just appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's glad to hear. I'm trying my best here. This started as something I was going to just goof around with, and it kind of became more. It just became more, and I'm really loving it. What it's becoming. But thank you so much. Hey, Beeline, I really hope. Sorry, Beeline. I know you all used to be whatever. But this was actually a really good show. I really enjoyed this conversation. Please follow Miss Hope Reger. I'm glad I got that right. I'm usually bad with names. Please follow Miss Hope Reger. I'm gonna leave all of her information in the description of the video and everything like that. And if you need anything, if anybody's dealing through anything, she has a great program, as you heard. Definitely follow her, man. There's a lot of you guys that are probably struggling out there and going through things. You understand you are not alone. Kids going back to school now. It's a whole lot of things, man. Let's build people up, yo. Let's make everybody remember that the world is still fun. People are still good, and you still laugh and joke and support each other, man. I think that's the best thing. But until next time, Beeline, thank you guys so much. I love you guys so much. Subscribe to the channel, follow Miss Hope, do all of that. And then definitely, before anything, you gotta stay true, stay positive, and pay attention, baby, because your boy Brian B. and the Beeline, we out.